This lecture is just an introduction to a subject known as Object-Oriented Analysis and Design, or simply OOAD. So this is a theoretical subject which is introduced to the 6th semester BCA students of Kerala University, and the major objective of this subject is very much specific, since each and every procedures and steps involved in this paper can be or should be introduced or took part in each and every software development or engineering program. The Object-Oriented Analysis and Design, or OOAD, is a software development approach that models a system as a group of objects. Each object represents some real-world entities within the system being modeled and has its own attributes and operations. A range of models can be created using such objects to reflect the structure and behavior of the system. One of the most widely used notation for depicting objects and the way they are interacting with each other is the Unified Modeling Language, or UML. The UML was adopted by the Object Management Group (OMG) in 1997 as a standard for object-oriented modeling, and combines widely accepted concepts from a number of object-oriented modeling techniques. The line between analysis and design in OOAD is indistinct, but essentially object modeling is used to determine the functional requirements of a system, that is, what the system must do during the analysis phase. And the models thus derived are refined and augmented to produce a blueprint for the physical implementation, that is, how the system will do what it must do during the design phase. The information fed into the analysis stage is derived by all the usual means, such as a written requirement statement, interviews, observation, and study of the system documentation. The various diagrams produced during the analysis and design stages are easy to understand and can be used to explain aspects of the proposed system design to the user and obtain feedback. The final set of design phase diagrams reflect the chosen physical architecture and take into consideration any constraints associated with the environment in which the system must operate or the technical options available. They will be developed in sufficient detail to provide the necessary input to the implementation phase. Any discussion of object-oriented analysis and design rests on a good understanding of what objects and classes are and a relation between them. Essentially, the object is an abstract representation of some real-world entity, such as person or a bank account. An object will hold data items known as attributes about the entity. It will define operations or methods to report the value held by the attribute or modify them in some way. The operations defined for a class provide it with an interface through which it can communicate with other objects. The object will be identified by a unique name. A class is a template that defines the attributes and operations that are common to the objects created from it. Looking at this from a different perspective, an object is an instance of a class. These ideas are common to both the object modeling notations used to analyze and design systems and the object-oriented programming languages like C++, Java, etc. used to implement those systems. So my dear students, while considering an object-oriented language or an object-oriented environment, this object-oriented analysis and design is an important point to be referred. That's why this subject is introduced in the 6th semester BCA course by the University of Kerala. When it comes to the syllabus of this subject, mainly the major topics are divided into 4 different modules. In the first module, we will discuss the object-oriented concepts like class, object, defining a class, comparison between algorithmic decomposition as well as object-oriented decomposition, object-oriented themes like abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. In the second module, the concept of Unified Modeling Language (UML) is introduced, and the UML diagram, class diagram, is introduced with various examples. In the third module, we are dealing with the interaction diagrams like sequence diagram, system level diagram, service level diagram, collaboration diagram with various examples of the UML diagram. In the fourth module, we are dealing with the activity, state chart diagram, component diagram, and modeling interface diagrams like deployment diagrams of the UML diagrams. So these are the major topics we are discussing with object-oriented analysis. So my dear students, from the upcoming set of lectures, we are starting our new subject, object-oriented analysis and design. So welcome to the new subject, OOAD. See you soon with a new set of concepts. Bye-bye.